There's an end to a 20-year mystery. An infant who disappeared with her mother from South Carolina now found the girl's father.
April 24th, 1994, Isle of Palms, South Carolina. A bright Sunday afternoon. A young mother buckles her baby girl into a car seat. The little girl is not yet a year old. Blonde wisps, a happy, easy smile. Her name is Savannah. Her mother has permission to take her to a birthday party today. That's the arrangement. A few supervised hours, and then home again by evening. She pulls out of the driveway, and she does not come back.
Life that was stolen from you.
That's just absolutely beautiful.
Without your knowledge, without your consent, by your own mother. Can you believe this happened to you?
No, I really can't.
That night, there is no trace of the mother, the baby, or their car. Within days, an international search begins, one that will cross 4 continents and outlast nearly 2 decades. And here is what makes this one different from any missing child case you've ever heard. When this baby is finally found, alive, grown, on the other side of the world, she won't even know she was ever missing. She'll be living an ordinary, happy life under a different name, in a different country, with no idea that an entire nation once searched for her. And when she learns the truth about the woman who took her, she'll defend her. This is the story of the baby who vanished, the mother who ran for 19 years, and the daughter who forgave her. To understand that Sunday, you have to go back to a marriage that was already coming apart. In 1990, a flight attendant named Dorothy Lee Barnett, everyone calls her Lee, meets a stockbroker named Harris Todd. It's a whirlwind. They marry fast, and almost as fast it curdles. Now, here the story splits in 2, and it matters that we tell both sides honestly, because 2 decades later, people are still arguing about which one is true. Harris says his wife was volatile, even frightening. He claims he was afraid of her. In the custody fight to come, a court will side with him and go further, finding that Lee posed a real danger, a finding she calls the most damaging and untrue thing ever said about her. Lee tells a very different story. She says that when she got pregnant, Harris didn't want the baby at all. She says she was the loving one, the devoted one, and later, she'll insist there was never anything wrong with her, pointing out that she went on to raise 2 healthy, happy children. 2 people, 2 completely opposite accounts, and a baby caught in the middle of it. On May of 1993, Lee gives birth to a daughter. They name her Savannah, and whatever else is in dispute, everyone, even Harris, agrees on one thing: Lee adored that child. Friends describe a bond so strong the mother seemed to light up the instant she saw her baby. But the marriage is finished. Harris files for custody, and he wins. Sole custody. Lee is reduced to supervised visits, weekends only, watched the entire time. Picture what that does to a mother who is certain she has done nothing wrong. She goes from being the center of her baby's world to a visitor in it, handed a few monitored hours, then sent away while someone else raises her daughter. Every goodbye at the end of a weekend is its own small heartbreak, and the legal machinery grinding against her feels less like justice and more like theft. To a mother in that position, it feels like her child is being taken from her by a system she can't fight. And then Lee says she notices something that changes everything for her. She claims she finds marks on her daughter after a visit, and becomes convinced the baby isn't safe. Whether that fear was real or imagined, no one can prove now. But 2 weeks before Savannah's first birthday, Lee makes a decision that will cost her the next 20 years of her life. Sunday, April 24th, 1994. Lee is granted permission to take Savannah to a birthday party. She persuades the person supervising to let her go alone. Just this once, just a few hours. It's the opening she needs.
On Sunday, April 24th, Lee Barnett was granted permission to take Savannah to a birthday party, but that night she failed to return. Police could find no trace of the mother, daughter, or their vehicle. In the following days, family and...
By nightfall, she's gone, and she has vanished cleanly. No car, no trail, no note. To the police, it's as if a mother and her baby have simply evaporated off the coast of South Carolina. Then, a few days later, family and friends receive something in the mail. Videotapes, and on them, a message.
Savannah and I belong together, and nobody besides God has the right to destroy that. I promise and swear on my life that I will continue to take care of my daughter.
She swears, on her life, that she will keep her daughter safe, that no one has the right to take her child. It is the message of a woman who has convinced herself, completely, that she is not committing a crime. She is performing a rescue. For the people left behind, the tapes only deepen the horror. Because now they know she's alive, out there, somewhere, with the baby. And they have absolutely no idea where. Lee's best friend, Patty, a fellow flight attendant who had shared every dream of marriage and children and a house with a picket fence, is shattered.
I was shocked. I was hurt. It was so hard. When I found out, I lost my best friend. I lost my little baby, my little Savannah. It was really...
Patty will go on to get her own picket fence, a marriage, 3 daughters. But she will never stop wondering what became of her friend and the little girl she loved. And a father is left with the one thing no parent should ever have to hold, a missing child, and no answers at all. Because while a whole city searches, Lee Barnett is already gone. And she is very, very good at disappearing. This is not a woman who panics and hides in the next town. This is a woman with a plan. She gets her hands on a forged birth certificate. She uses it to obtain a driver's license. She uses that to obtain a United States passport. And just like that, Dorothy Lee Barnett ceases to exist. In her place is a new woman, with a new name, Alexandria, Alex. And baby Savannah? Savannah is gone too. Now she's Samantha. New names, new papers, new lives. And then, they run. Europe first, Germany, France, then halfway around the world, Malaysia, Singapore, then South Africa, then Botswana. A mother and a small child, moving from country to country, always one more border between them and the past.
Investigations span the United States and the globe. We searched Belize, Central America, and South Africa. Dorothy Lee was very equipped running from the law. She thought about this, she was planned, she was determined.
I feel the FBI and every other law enforcement agency underestimated me.
The FBI more than met their match.
And this is the part investigators can barely believe. The FBI is looking for her. Interpol-level international attention is on this case, and she stays a step ahead of all of them. For years, she will later say, without a trace of doubt, that every law enforcement agency underestimated her. She wasn't wrong. In South Africa, Alex builds an entirely new life. She meets and marries a geologist named Geldenhuys. They have a son, and little Samantha grows up believing this man is her father, and that this woman is exactly who she says she is. There is no reason for the child to think otherwise. She has a mother who loves her, a father, a little brother, a home, a completely ordinary family, built entirely on a secret only one person knows. Now, meet Samantha. Because for 19 years, the missing American baby doesn't feel missing at all. She feels like the luckiest girl in the world. The family keeps moving. For her stepfather's work, she's told. New Zealand. And then, finally, in 2004, they land in Queensland, Australia. Sunshine, beaches, an easy golden life on the coast. Samantha is 11 now, and she is completely, blissfully oblivious. To her, Australia is home. She grows up on the Sunshine Coast. She's close to her mother, joined at the hip, she'll say. She adores her stepfather, and every so often, her mother says something small and strange that Samantha never thinks twice about. You sleep just like your dad. You look just like him. Little kindnesses, little lies, stitched so seamlessly into an ordinary childhood that no one could ever pull the thread. And it is, by every account, a genuinely happy childhood. Samantha is close to her little brother. She's surrounded by friends. She has a mother who shows up, who is warm and present, and completely devoted to her. Years later, even knowing everything, Samantha will insist she wouldn't trade that upbringing for anything. She was, in her own words, loved beyond belief, which is exactly what will make the truth so impossible to reconcile. The crime and the love are the same story. Samantha becomes an Australian. She plans to grow old there. She'll go to school, get a good job, buy a house, settle down. This is where she wants to live the rest of her life. And her mother lets her build all of it. The friendships, the plans, the future, while knowing, every single day, that any one of them could come apart in an instant. Because Alex never forgets what she is. A woman living under a false name, wanted on the other side of the world, raising a daughter who has no idea she was ever anyone but Samantha. She's built a paradise, and she's the only one who knows it's balanced on a lie. For 19 years, the lie holds. And then, one ordinary conversation brings the whole thing crashing down. But before we get to how it ends, you have to understand what these years were like for the man on the other side of the world. Harris Todd. While his daughter grows up in the Australian sun, calling another man dad, Harris is in South Carolina, doing everything in his power to find out what happened to his little girl. Think about the specific cruelty of his situation. Savanna wasn't taken by a stranger in the night. She was taken by her own mother, into a void, with no ransom, no demand, no contact, just gone. And in the absence of any information, a parent's mind fills the silence with every possible nightmare. Is she alive? Is she safe? Is she even still in the country? Does she know she has a father who never stopped looking? Year after year, the case stays open and cold. The FBI keeps a file. Missing children organizations keep her photo and quietly age it forward. A computer rendering of what Savanna might look like at 16, a stranger's face built from a baby's. But there are no answers, only anniversaries, only the slow, grinding arithmetic of a father counting the birthdays he isn't there for. Her first steps, her first words, her first day of school. Someone was there for all of it. It just wasn't him. And there's a cruelty inside the cruelty. Because a stranger abduction, as terrifying as it is, at least gives a parent something to fight. A suspect, a description, a manhunt with a face. But when the person who took your child is her own mother, vanished into a forged identity on another continent, there is nothing to grab onto. No villain the public can rally against. Just a bitter divorce, a cold case file, and a slow, public assumption that maybe the child is fine, wherever she is. Harris has to live for 19 years inside that particular silence. 19 years. A father, searching an empty horizon. A daughter, a few thousand miles away, who didn't even know his name. Two people, connected by blood and separated by a lie, both living lives shaped by the same missing person, and neither one knowing that it would all end. Not with a break in the case, not with a detective's breakthrough, but with a single slip of the tongue. Here is how 19 years of near-perfect deception finally comes undone. Not with a fingerprint, not with a raid, with one word. Because for all her caution, Lee makes a mistake. A tiny, human one. In front of someone who knows the family, she slips. She calls her daughter by the wrong name. She calls Samantha Savanna.
18 years of deceit had been brought undone by one slip of the tongue. Sam's mum was caught out by a family friend when she slipped up and called Samantha Savanna. That friend went online, discovered Sam's real identity on a missing persons website, and turned them in.
To anyone else, it would mean nothing. A mother mixing up a name. But this person notices that it's odd, that it sticks, and they go looking. They type that name into the internet, and somewhere, on a missing persons website, a decades-old case is waiting. A baby named Savanna Todd, taken from South Carolina in 1994. Suddenly, the sunny Australian family, with the friendly mum, has a shadow behind it. The people who know them now know a secret the daughter herself doesn't. And they make a decision. They alert the authorities. A tip crosses the ocean. It reaches the people who have been waiting 19 years for exactly this. And for the first time since 1994, the FBI knows where Savanna Todd is. She's in Queensland, Australia, alive, 20 years old, and she has no idea any of this is happening. The mother who spent 2 decades looking over her shoulder was never caught by a manhunt, or a wiretap, or a border check. She was caught by a name she couldn't quite keep straight, and the countdown to the knock on the door has already begun. November 2013. Mooloolaba, Queensland. An ordinary morning on the coast. Samantha is at school when her phone rings. It's her mother, and something in her voice is wrong immediately, because her mother is a strong woman, and her mother is crying. She tells Samantha to come, quickly. There isn't much time. Because at that moment, standing at the door, are officers from the Australian Federal Police, and, all the way from the United States, the FBI.
Until 2011, when we had the tip that she was living in Australia.
I remember getting a call when I was up at school and my mom needed me to jump on a plane and come down because she was getting arrested.
2 decades later, authorities have arrested her in Australia.
They allow the woman one phone call, and she uses it to reach her daughter, to try, in a few broken sentences, to explain the unexplainable. She tells Samantha that she was married before, in America, that Samantha was born there, to another man, that something became unsafe, and so she took her baby and she ran. Imagine being 20 years old and hearing that in a single phone call, that your name isn't your name, that your country isn't your country, that your father isn't your father, that your entire life, every memory, every certainty, was built on top of a secret so big you can't even hold it. Samantha is gobsmacked. Her whole world tilts on its axis. Alex isn't Alex. The dad she believed in, the geologist, the man she was joined at the hip with, wasn't her father at all. And there is a man in South Carolina named Harris Todd who has been searching for her since before she can remember. And there's one more thing, and it lands like a blow of its own. Her stepfather, the man who raised her, who never once let the secret slip, had passed away just 1 week before the arrest. He carried it to the end. He never breathed a word. In a single morning, Samantha loses the life she knew and inherits a truth she never asked for. And now the whole world wants to know what she'll do with it. What happens next surprises everyone, because the newly found daughter does not turn on the mother who took her. Lee Barnett fights extradition for 10 months from an Australian cell. But in the fall of 2014, she loses, and she's flown back to the place where it all began, Charleston, South Carolina. Only this time, she walks into a federal courthouse, charged with international parental kidnapping and 2 counts of passport fraud. Crimes that carry, in total, up to 23 years. The prosecutor's position is blunt and hard to argue with. You cannot take the law into your own hands. You cannot forge documents and flee a country with a child because you don't like how a custody hearing went. It doesn't matter how much you love her. There are rules, and she broke every one of them. Lee sees it differently. She always has. She admits she used the fake passports, but she refuses, even now, to call herself a kidnapper. In her mind, she says, the law was broken the day a court took her baby away from her. In February 2015, facing the full weight of the US government, Lee pleads guilty to all 3 charges. And then her daughter stands up in that courtroom and does something almost no abducted child ever does. She begs the judge for mercy.
Of course I went, oh my goodness, I'd never expect out of anyone in the world my mom would have done anything. So it was a brief conversation about how she was married previously in America and she conceived me with him, and then something became unsafe and she just took me and ran.
For her mother, she tells the court she was loved beyond belief, that she is not a victim and refuses to be called one, that the woman in the defendant's chair gave her every opportunity and the most incredible life she could imagine. The judge listens. He says there are no winners in this case. He allows that Lee may well have been a fine mother, that her actions might even have been out of character. But he calls the crime calculated and methodical, and he sentences her to 21 months, and that number becomes its own flashpoint. To Lee's supporters, and there are many, from 4 continents, who send letters begging the court for mercy, even 21 months is an outrage against a devoted mother. To others, it's almost insulting in the opposite direction. A woman deceived a child for 2 decades and denied a father half his life, and she'll be out in a matter of months. There is, it turns out, no sentence that could ever feel right to everyone, because this was never a clean crime with a clean punishment. For Harris, the father who lost 19 years, it is a hollow, disappointing number. 19 years, for 21 months, and he'll say something that captures all of it, that he holds no animosity for her, that she is his daughter's mother, and always will be. But the years, he says, speak for themselves. And this is where the story becomes something more complicated and more human than a simple case of right and wrong. Because when it's over, Samantha, or Savanna, whichever name you use, chooses her mother. There is a reunion with Harris, her biological father. She agrees to meet him, and it is painfully awkward.
He held out his hand to shake my hand, and I thought, well, I'm not quite comfortable with that. I'd rather give a hug. And it was just a surreal experience almost.
He extends a hand to shake. She wants a hug. 2 strangers who share half their blood, standing in a doorway, unsure how to even greet each other. There's no falling into each other's arms, no movie ending. Just 2 people, decades apart, trying to work out what they are to one another, and mostly not knowing. Their relationship never really takes hold. A few emails, a long distance that blood alone can't close. Because in Samantha's heart, there was never any real contest. Her mother is the one who was there. Her mother is the one who tucked her in, and taught her, and loved her, every single day of the only life she remembers. And there is one object that explains her devotion better than anything else: a diary.
A few months before my mom gave birth to me, she started writing a diary. And it starts off on the first page saying, "To my dear Savanna, someday I'll give this journal to you so that you can hopefully understand your mother."
Before Savanna was even born, her mother began writing to her, page after page, addressed to a daughter who couldn't yet read, so that one day she would understand. And when Samantha finally opens that book and reads the fear and the love in her mother's own handwriting, whatever doubt she had left dissolves. So think back to that bright Sunday in 1994. A young mother, buckling a baby into a car seat, driving away from an entire life, convinced she was saving her child, not stealing her. 19 years later, that baby is a grown woman with 2 names, 2 countries, and 2 fathers, and only one clear answer to the question everyone keeps asking her. Was your mother a criminal or a hero? For Savanna, there was never any question at all. She looks at the woman who took her, and who ran for 2 decades, and who went to prison rather than give her up, and she doesn't see a kidnapper. She sees her mom. Whether the rest of the world agrees or not, that is the one truth no court and no verdict was ever going to change. Savanna Todd grew up never knowing she was missing, and chose, in the end, to forgive the woman who took her. But not every child raised under a stolen name gets to decide what the truth means. Some spend their whole lives simply trying to find it. Because a few years earlier, another baby girl was taken, not by a parent, but by a stranger, straight out of a hospital crib. She was raised under a false name too, in a life that was never hers. And one day, as a grown woman searching a missing children website, she found a baby photo that stopped her cold, and realized she was looking at herself. That story is on your screen right now. Tap it. You won't believe how she cracked her own case.